Okay class, this is Russian Benson. Today we do reverse Polish notation. What is reverse Polish notation? What is reverse Polish notation? Say we had an expression that looked like this. Reverse Polish notation is just where we take the numbers first and then put the operator afterwards. So these two are equivalently the same expression. So how are we going to solve this function? Well, say we were given an array of tokens like this, which is just this expression up here in reverse Polish notation. So how can we write a function that finishes and evaluates this reverse Polish notation and gives us the correct answer of 3? Well, we can solve it using a stack, and I'll show you why. What we want to do with the stack is we want to iterate through our string of tokens, and each time we find a number, we want to push the number into the stack. And every time we find an operator, that's where we perform our operation. So I'll give you an example. We go through here, we put a 2 in here. We go through here, put a 4 in here. And then look, this is not a number, right? So what we want to do, we want to pop the last two elements, 4 and 2, and then we add them together. And why do we do this? Well, because remember, the 2 and a 4 here is the 2 and a 4 here. And this plus sign is the same plus sign as this one. So it makes sense that when we pop them out, we just want to add them together or perform the operation here exactly. So we perform this operation and get 6. And then what do we do with this 6? Well, we want to put the 6 back into the stack. Why do we put it back in the stack? Because remember, in the original expression, this 2 plus 4 is equal to a 6. This 6 doesn't just magically go away. This 6 is going to later on go and minus with this 3. So that's why we put the 6 or any number back into the stack. So we push that. The next value is 3, and that's the number, so we push it back in. And then we get to the operator. And since this is a minus sign, this is a special case. Because when we do pop, it's not 3 minus 6, right? It's actually going to be 6 minus 3. So when we do pop, the first element we pop is going to be on the right side, and the second element we pop is going to be on the left side. So 6 minus 3 is equal to 3. And look, we solved the reverse Polish notation. So we push this back into the stack, and now our stack should look like this. Only a value of 3 left. And then once we reach the end of the token array, we can just pop the last value in the stack, which is 3, and that's the correct answer. Alright, let's write the code. So first we want to initialize a stack, as well as initializing a for loop to go through each token inside the tokens array. Next, we want to check each token in our token array and do something depending on what it is. So let's check if it's an operator first. If it's a plus sign, we can just remember, pop the last 2 elements and then add them together and put it back in the array. Next, we can do the multiplication one like this, and instead of adding it, we can just multiply it. Now we get to the interesting one, the subtraction one. Remember, for subtraction, the first element we pop, the 3, goes on the right, and the second element we pop goes on the left. So 6 minus 3 actually works like this. So remember, the first element we pop is going to be on the right. So we do stack.pop. The next one is going to be the left one. Then we get our result, which is going to be left subtracted by right. And then we push that into the stack. We do the same thing for division as well. So for division, we also have to make sure that the left is on the left side and the right is on the right side. So instead of subtraction, we just do division. And inside this LeetCode question as well, it tells us that the division between 2 integers must always truncate. So technically, inside an actual question, inside actual Polish notation, you could just leave it like this because that's how you get the division, right? But LeetCode wants us to truncate, so we should just truncate this value. And our last case scenario is obviously if this was just a number. And if it was just a number, we just push it into the stack. So we can just push token. But remember, token is actually a string, so we need to parse in this. We need to turn this token into a number because the token is an array of strings. And then after we finish all that, after we're done with this entire for loop, we can just return the final value inside a stack. Okay, I did something wrong. These should all be else ifs, not just ifs. So we see that it actually has finished. And the time complexity of this all would be O of n because we just go through each element in the token one time. So I hope you guys found this useful, and make sure to follow for some more LeetCoding practice. Peace.